The crisp winter air kissed my cheeks as I ventured into the heart of the pine forest. The moon cast an eerie glow over the snow-covered landscape, setting the stage for my nightly photo adventure. My camera in hand, I was ready to capture the serene beauty of the night. Little did I know that this night would be different, that I would encounter a chilling presence in the solitude of the forest. As I delved deeper into the woods, the only sounds were the crunch of my footsteps on the snow and the occasional hoot of an owl. My breath formed misty clouds in the icy air, and I reveled in the tranquility that surrounded me. I found the perfect spot, a small clearing bathed in the ethereal light of the moon. The snow-clad trees framed the scene, and I began to take photos, each one more captivating than the last. Lost in my craft, I almost didn't notice the distant rustling of leaves. Turning towards the sound, I saw a shadowy figure emerging from the trees. A shiver of unease rippled through me as I realized I was not alone. The stranger stood there, tall and silent, his face obscured by the hood of his heavy coat. "Hello?" I called out, my voice trembling as much as the leaves underfoot. The stranger didn't respond. Instead, he took a step closer, and the dim moonlight revealed a glint of something metallic in his hand. My heart raced, and fear gnawed at the pit of my stomach. Desperation gripped me as I fumbled to put my camera away and clutch my phone. But as I glanced up, the stranger had vanished. My breath quickened, and the forest seemed to close in around me. I took a cautious step back and called out again, "Is anyone there?" This time, his response was a sinister whisper that sent shivers down my spine. "I'm always here." The moonlight revealed his face, pale and gaunt, eyes devoid of emotion. My instincts screamed at me to run, but my legs felt like they were made of lead. The stranger's footsteps echoed behind me, each one louder, each one closer. Panic coursed through my veins as I sprinted through the forest, my heart pounding. The snow seemed to conspire against me, making every step a battle. The stranger pursued me, his presence an ever-present dread. I stumbled into a hidden alcove, gasping for breath. Huddled behind a tree, I prayed that he had lost me. My phone was clutched in my trembling hand, ready to dial 911. And then, a voice whispered from the shadows, "You can't escape me." My heart stopped as I turned and saw him standing there, a twisted smile on his face. In that moment, terror enveloped me, and my finger pressed the call button. The distant sound of sirens reached my ears, and the stranger fled into the night, leaving me trembling and on the verge of tears. The police arrived, and I told them everything. They searched the forest, but the sinister stranger was never found. As the years passed, my passion for night photography waned, replaced by fear and anxiety. I learned the importance of safety and never venturing alone into the darkness. My advice to anyone who hears this tale is simple. Be cautious when exploring the unknown, for the night holds secrets and dangers that you may never escape. As the chilling winds whispered through the deserted streets of the city, I found myself on a lone journey home. It was well past midnight, and the eerily quiet park I had to cross was bathed in an unsettling darkness. My footsteps echoed loudly in the silence, making me anxious with every passing moment. I quickened my pace, my breath visible in the cold air, but the fear gnawed at me. There was an unsettling presence lurking nearby. A man in a brown hoodie, shrouded in shadows, seemed to appear out of thin air. My heart raced as he followed me, maintaining a sinister distance. I told myself I was just being paranoid, that it was just a coincidence. But when I turned a corner, leaving the park behind, he was still there, his presence an unshakable specter. Panic welled up within me, and I could feel his predatory eyes burning holes into my back. I needed help. I needed witnesses. The only way to escape the tormenting pursuit was to get on the subway, a place where I would be surrounded by people. But as I entered the dimly lit station, the man in the brown hoodie followed. My desperation mounted, and I had to act fast. The train arrived with an ominous hiss of the doors sliding open. I scrambled aboard, my heart pounding in my chest. The man in the brown hoodie stepped onto the same car just as the doors closed. I was trapped with my pursuer, my pulse thundering in my ears. I took a seat and tried to blend in with the few passengers, but the man was relentless. He moved closer, his sinister grin barely concealed by the shadows. Panic set in, and I fumbled for my phone, my trembling fingers struggling to dial 911. As I finally connected with the operator, I gave them a frantic description of the man in the brown hoodie, our location, and the imminent danger I was in. They assured me that help was on the way, but the minutes dragged on like hours, each second laced with dread. The man leaned closer, his rancid breath sending a shiver down my spine. I could hardly breathe as his fingers brushed my shoulder, and his voice, a whisper filled with malevolence, pierced the air. "You can't escape me." I felt trapped, on the brink of despair, but then I heard the approach of sirens in the distance. The subway train screeched to a halt, the doors flung open, and a squad of police officers stormed inside. They apprehended the man in the brown hoodie, his reign of terror ending in that chilling moment. As the police led him away in handcuffs, I finally felt relief wash over me. But my fear had left an indelible mark. I realized how vulnerable we all are when we let our guard down, especially late at night in the city. My advice to all who hear this tale is simple but vital. Trust your instincts, and don't hesitate to seek help when you feel unsafe. Be aware of your surroundings and never underestimate the importance of staying connected with loved ones when you're out alone. In the darkness of the night, we must be vigilant, for you never know when you might encounter your own subway stalker, a nightmare you'll never forget. It was an ordinary Friday evening in my quiet suburban house. I had settled in for a cozy movie night. The only sound breaking the silence was the low hum of the television. The soft glow of the screen cast eerie shadows on the walls, creating an atmosphere of comfort and solitude. Little did I know, that sense of solitude was about to be shattered. As the movie played on, my focus was intermittently stolen by faint, unusual noises coming from outside. At first, I dismissed them as the usual creaks and groans of the old house settling. But as the minutes ticked by, the sounds grew more distinct and unsettling. Footsteps, like gravel being crushed underfoot, echoed through the quiet night. My heart quickened, and I muted the TV to listen more closely. I strained my ears, trying to discern the source of the disturbance. The wind howled outside, and the trees brushed against the windows, creating an eerie symphony of rustling leaves. My unease deepened. I couldn't shake the feeling that I was not alone. My pulse raced as I ventured to the window, peering into the inky darkness outside. I saw nothing, only the swaying branches and the empty street. Torn between fear and curiosity, I decided to investigate. Perhaps it was just a raccoon or a neighborhood cat causing the commotion. I tiptoed to the front door, each creak of the floorboards sounding deafening in the silence. My hand trembled as I reached for the doorknob, and with bated breath, I slowly turned it. The door creaked open, and the cold night air rushed in. Moonlight spilled onto my front porch, revealing an empty yard. Just as I began to convince myself that I was overreacting, a shadow moved at the edge of my vision. A figure, shrouded in darkness, stood at the threshold. Panic seized me, and I stumbled backward, gasping. My heart pounded in my chest as I fumbled for my phone. With trembling fingers, I dialed 911, all while keeping my terrified eyes on the intruder, who remained ominously still. The voice on the other end of the line assured me that help was on the way, but the minutes dragged on like hours. The intruder never moved, just stood there, a haunting silhouette against the moonlight. I prayed for the police to arrive. Finally, the distant wail of sirens pierced the night, and the intruder seemed to sense the impending danger. With a chilling smile, they turned and disappeared into the darkness. The police arrived, searched the area, and found no trace of the intruder. They offered little consolation, assuring me it was probably a simple case of a prowler who had fled. But the fear remained, gnawing at my soul, as I struggled to sleep that night. In the days that followed, I installed security measures, improved lighting, and slept with one eye open. My once peaceful home had been tainted by that sinister intrusion, and the sense of vulnerability lingered. As the weeks turned into months, a new nightmare emerged. One evening, while watching TV, I received an anonymous text message. It was a picture taken from that fateful night, showing me, watching the intruder. The message simply read, "I'm still here." The advice I can offer from my harrowing experience is this: never underestimate the power of vigilance. Trust your instincts and take your safety seriously. Darkness may hide the unknown, and the familiar can turn sinister. Protect your home, your sanctuary, for the uninvited may always be lurking, waiting to strike when you least expect it.